Hello viewers, welcome back to the Microsoft project course. As we continue the fundamental aspects of the Microsoft project for Module 2, we will look now to linking taxes. Even as we do that, we will still be doing also adding taxes, that's tax, duration, start. So basically we will be using all this more and more as we go along. So let's pull up our project plan for Mr. John. By the way, we already entered some initial things in the previous video in order to make a plan to see where the storage building will end. What we didn't do was to save it. So we will save it now by clicking the save button, and that is saved. Or press Ctrl S, and that is saved. So let's continue. Part of this video too will be adding more of these steps. So, but before that, what we want to do here is make sure that we can put all the steps to show dependencies. For example, start project is like a heading, like a, how do you say it, the headline, so everything, it's not a tax itself, it's just a container, and everything under this will fall under it. So which means I want to make this tax the sub-level of the header. To do that, I can select one tax, I go to tax menu, and I can look for, this is indent tax, and if I do this, then you see that there's an arrow here or triangle, and this is now part of this, and this is border. So which means this is under this, a sub-level of the top. So because my main project name has a topic, Start John Storage, everything I do will fall under it, such that at the end, I will also have an end part called End John Storage. And in that way, I can also start building links or dependencies as well. So if I want to make sure that these two are indented, or so if I can do tax, I can also do that. So I selected both and I do that. So you can select multiple and do that. So what you see now is on the Gantt chart, the start here covers every other task that you will be doing in it. So which means everything you do here will determine when you start, it will determine the end date. And that's basically what this is saying. So now there are no dependencies, even though this is 2 days, 2 days, 3 days. It says my project will start from 10th and it will end 12th. So initially, if you remember, we put February. And now automatically it has changed the date to 3 days. And that's because we specified tags that are parallel and not dependent on each other. So it will assume what you just did and continue like that. If I would change this, for example, now let the start date be, let's say 13. So here it's telling you about some information in order that to be careful how you make link. Link build the foundation will always follow materials check. So if you say yes, if you say put a link without adding a link, so we're not asking it to do the link for us. If you say yes, it will link this to that, which means it comes after this. But for now, we're not interested in that. So we would say just move it without adding the link. And let's just say don't show us this again. And there is no link. So there is no dependency on all these tags. It just says I can do this to 10 to 11, 11 to 12. So this 2 takes 2 days, and 12 to 17 is an additional 4 days if you start from 13. And then that makes up 6 days in total, and that's what you see here. And remember, it counting the work days, so it does not count. So the 3 days here we put is starting from Thursday, Friday, and then Monday. Normally should have ended on a Saturday. So if we want to put a link ourselves here, then to see what is eventually the end date. So basically we just move from 3 days end date to 6 because we put a time here. But let's assume you have to first do the scope, define the scope before you do the materials. Then you want to make sure that only when you finish doing the scope you do the materials. So I can see here and come under the predecessor. Okay, so the predecessor of check material is storage scope, and I can link them by just saying, putting the number here. So I can put 3 and press enter. And when you do that, you see that this starts 1 day on the 12th after this is finished, instead of on the 11th. Our total time does not change because there's a third part which does not depend on any of this. Therefore, they can start in parallel. Like you see, the second activity starts here in parallel with this one. Then it still can end there because the third one ends there. And if I want to make sure that before building the foundation, I want to check every material, then I also need to say that tax 5 here depends on 4. So I can put 4 here. Another way to do that would be to, let's try that. Let's see. I select both of them. I go to tax, and let's use the item here, link. So if I link it, then you see automatically the number is there, which means with the tax 4 depending on tax 3 and the foundation depending on the material check, these are sequential. And you see that I cannot start one before finishing the other. I have to finish one before moving to the other. And then it means I have to add these numbers. So it will take me 7 work days, which is now this, to finish. And actually it will take you a total of 9 days, including the weekend. And this is something you have to keep in mind when planning, because Mr. John may have planned 7 days but doesn't realize that it will cross over the weekend, therefore it's 9 days. And this is what linking and dependency does. So what you see here is tax 5, which is build foundation, has a predecessor called tax 4, which is material check, and tax 4 has a successor, which is tax 5, vice versa. And basically this is how you build links. Okay, so we can do more and more of this, but this is a way to just show you how you can create predecessor with links and other things. And at this point we will stop with this video, and in the next video we will build more on this plan by adding more things to build the plan a little bit more in depth, to show you how to use a bit more things that we can use for practice. Thank you.